At this health center in the town of Korostyshiv, 105 kilometers from Ukrainian capital Kyiv, live some of Ukraine's 1.4 million internally displaced people, or IDPs. They are refugees from the war in East Ukraine, where Ukrainian troops have been fighting Russian-backed insurgents for over a year. Lyudmila Vetrova has fled from Donetsk in East Ukraine. She says, you know, there's a shortage of food when children are hungry, and she, poor child, asks for food, but I have nothing to give her. I get so scared then, my head has gone grey, I dye my hair. I have already turned grey. I lost all my teeth because I am so nervous all the time. The health centre is run by volunteers, and the people who live there rely on charities. Lyudmila explains. Neither the regional nor local administration can help us financially because they say there is no money in the budget, no money. How can we survive? 300 people, including 100 children. How can we survive? We are not homeless people. Lyudmila Kovalenko lives at the health center with her 3 children. She fled fighting in her home city of Luhansk. She says, volunteers do everything for us. Our thanks go to volunteers because the state did not help us at all. The volunteers brought us here. The whole place was overgrown, but everything here was cleaned up by volunteers. More than 6,500 people have been killed during nearly 16 months of fighting in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, which borders Russia. Although the government and insurgents agreed a ceasefire in February, attacks continue. The UN Refugee Agency estimates that less than 5% of those displaced by the conflict are being housed in recognized centers set up to accommodate IDPs.
According to government statistics, there are now 1.4 million internally displaced people in Ukraine, putting Ukraine in the top 10 internally displaced people hosting countries in the world. The majority of the internally displaced people in Ukraine are actually coming from the Donetsk and Luhansk, what we call the Donbas area. A smaller number fled, mostly last year, from Crimea following its annexation by the Russian Federation.
Most displaced people want to live in cities so they can try to find jobs to support their families and rebuild their lives. But the UN Refugee Agency warns that the crisis is deteriorating and longer-term solutions are needed for people who cannot return to their homes in Ukraine's war-torn eastern regions.